I'm just trying to correct the impression that I'm not trying to do protest to power. That is what the APC people did. And I think they started planning the coup since 2024, and I think it was followed in 2025.
A while ago, you did protest in support of the welfare of police officers. You went out on the streets, you galvanized, and you of course led that march. And fast forward weeks after, is some men in this what I call it field that you protested for, that still picked you up and locked you up, and they were of course used to quote and unquote to sort of stifle that protest. For you as a convener of multiple protests, does this dampen your morale, that the same set of people you came out for sometime in recent past are the same set of people you're having issues with now?
No, my commitment to human rights, my commitment to welfare of workers, or the respect for the dignity of man has nothing to do with who the person is. Even for my worst enemies, I'll fight. I knew the police is an irresponsible organization. I know it has a lot of bad eggs from the top to the bottom. But I also realized that they, retired and serving policemen, need better conditions of service. That those who are retired need gratuity and pensions that shows that they serve the country. So I wasn't expecting any response or favor from the police. You're talking about this latest one. My hand was broken by police the week after I protested on their behalf. They came to FID cell in the morning. My hand was injured by a CSP. The same policeman I fought for, they invaded my cell, beat me up, ruffled me up. This time around too, they ruffled me up. They forced me into a car after they forcibly obtained a remand order that I couldn't meet my bail condition. Chased the judge away. I had to stay in Kuje prison for 3 nights just because they were trying to get back at me. And part of the reason they were trying to get back at me is because I fought for the welfare of police. Over 29,000 policemen were promoted because we had that protest called the police protest. But I don't do anything or any of these things, in expectation that somebody will be kind to me.
Given what you have experienced, in the hands of the police, will you still organize a protest? In favor of policemen in the country again?
I would do protests for police, prison warders. I'll do protests for anybody. But you probably, if you go on my Facebook page today, we're planning a protest for contract staffers, people who are made staff for contracts for 20 years. So protest is something that has to do with our fundamental rights. It's how we reset, our society. It's the way we use our conscience to fight power.
But what do you have to say? What do you have to say to people who feel that protests don't have effect as it used to be anymore? We've seen multiple protests in recent times happen, yet those challenges still persist. Do you think that the approach should be changed?
Those who say so are saying so because they don't know how much they don't let people know the kind of changes that happen when a protest happens. That's part of the strategy of the state, to make people feel like protest is useless. I just told you now, and I'm sure you didn't know, that over 29,000 policemen who had not been promoted from 8 years were promoted because of the protest. Even the guy whose video I uploaded to my Facebook page, who said was paid 2 million naira as gratuity, eventually got 6 million. Now, there's a major debate to create a police pension board, which should give them better conditions of service. There are conversations that are happening because of protests that otherwise would not have happened. So I know this because I've been involved in a lot of protests. It was protests that brought us democracy. And let me tell you, all these people that tell you protest doesn't work, you go and cheat them today. They'll protest. There's likely no former Nigerian president that has never protested before. Obasanjo protested. Buhari protested. Tinubu not only protested, he was paying people for protests in this country until he became president. people protested for Goodluck Jonathan when he was hemmed in by the Yaradua Kappa.
Is that also,
was,
sorry to interrupt you, Omole Riale. You have listed a couple of presidents who followed the line of protest. Is that also your, will I call it, your strategy to get to the top?
No. If protests were to get somebody to the top, I think I would have become president some 20 years ago.
Because you've been a presidential candidate. I mean, a couple of times. So one might want to say maybe that is your strategy to get there.
No, I was protesting when I had no political interest. So I'm just trying to correct the impression that I'm not trying to do protest to power. That is what the APC people did. My own partisan involvement in politics is to fundamentally change Nigeria. You know, the people who will become the next president may be people who have never protested before. So I'm just trying to tell you that, yes, I know that trick question, but that's not my intention. I've been protesting since I was 21 years old, when I wasn't qualified to be president, even if I wanted to.
Okay, but I mean, since you said that, so what's in it for you?
Betterment of the country. You know, I'm hoping that in protesting all these terrible conditions, everybody can be conscientized, mobilized, and educated enough to seek total liberation one day. Because ultimately, it is when we put our feet on the ground, everybody protesting at once is called a revolution.
Now, let's talk about protest and how this current administration has handled it. I'm talking about the APC government since it assumed power. I mean, you said that quite a couple of them were part and parcel of protest in the past. But do we still see a government that is a product of protest rating protests now?
You know, this APC regime, the All Progressives Congress, has treated protests the worst and almost in the history of democratic rule. You remember Lekki Tollgate, where they opened fire on protesters, even during military rule in this country. I don't remember, except in Ikorodu when Abacha was passing and we were protesting against G12, and he said his convoy was intercepted or interrupted, and he opened fire on people. We were almost killed on that day too, killed several people. Since then, the APC regime under Buhari was the first to kill that number of persons for protest. They killed Lekki Tollgate people. They massacred Shiites for protesting. What led to the massacre of Shiites was a protest in which an army officer claimed that, one of the protesters touched his chest in uniform. They went and mobilized at night and killed them and buried them in shallow graves. Tinubu is doing it. One of the reasons why I started my campaign against Egbetokun was how he handled the August 2024 NBAC governance protest. How he picked up kids, shot at people indiscriminately across the north in particular. And then there was no remorse. Till today, he denies it. But he was the first Inspector General of Police who used his office to charge underage kids for treason. And some people have forgotten. And since then, I said, well, this guy have no place in modern, in a democratic society and in a modern police place. So that was cause of it. So I can tell you categorically that these guys don't want expression of opinions, like freedom of movement or freedom to protest. They use the courts the most. They have judges who do their bidding when it comes to what they call Cybercrime Act. Any little thing you say about an APC person, you're in jail. Anything you say about any protest, you're in jail. High-handedness, they're brutal at, protesters. But what I can tell you is that minds are hardening, and one day they'll get their comeuppance.
All right, let's move away from protest, and let's talk about a recent development that, came, even though it's pretty much at the level of the shadows. And that's the rumor of, a coup plot that has, been at the center of conversations. We recently saw Mr. President even overhaul his service chiefs. I mean, with all of these recent developments, what's your take, Omoyele Sowore?
Well, as you are aware, it's not a rumor anymore. There's a coup. There was a coup plot, and people were rounded up. And the revolution came from Sahara Reporters, the newspaper I founded. And their reaction. It's fake news. They sponsored their trolls. They were attacking everybody who revealed this. Well, we knew a long time ago that this was the situation. I think they started planning the coup since 2024, and I think it was followed in 2025.
They started, and, I mean, from the intel that you have, they started the planning from 2024.
Yes. Some of the sources that I spoke to told me that part of the reason the crackdown was very hard on the bad governance was because they knew around that time that some people were planning a coup. And I think some arrests of military officers were made around that period too. So if you notice during bad governance, their major grasp was that, there was Russian flags on the street and this would promote coup. And it was a time that all these Sahel countries had been taken over by military jackboots. So they started that around 2024, from what I heard. So, but I think maybe they didn't strike then and then they kept monitoring some of them. A lot of them are disgruntled officers in the Nigerian army who felt that things are not going the way they should. But let me make it very clear, I can never support military rule. Again, I've seen the worst military rule in my lifetime. Nobody can come and tell me, fellow Nigeria, we know things are wrong. These military guys that are planning to take over, that are planning coup, will be worse than the civilians we have. What we should do, and I've said this, anybody who loves Nigeria, it's all of us to take on the system at once, have a revolution. You get another government in uniform, all these army generals we're seeing, colonels, and all that, they're the reason why there's insecurity in the country. Some of the most undisciplined set of people you can imagine in the country, corrupt, they own real estate in Abuja. They're the ones, some of them supplying weapons to terrorists and bandits. So I'm never going to support a military takeover of power. I'm just giving you information that I have.
All right. Just before I let you know, do you think that this recent overhaul of the security chiefs by Mr. President would improve the security situation in the country? A simple answer.
If he was serious, and you can accuse me of bias, he should have fired Ebetokun. Then I would know that he wants to improve the security architecture. I think one military guy said today that even in all of this, he should go and overhaul the police. That tells you that this is a joke.
All right. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you, Omoyele Sowore, convener, #RevolutionNow movement. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.